Hungry are the damned. The Simpsons get abducted by two aliens who look like they wandered off a rejected Star Trek set, and honestly, the family's weirdly chill about it. King and Kodos are out here offering them unlimited food, massages, and zero responsibilities, which is basically Homer's ideal retirement plan, except it's happening in space with tentacle monsters. The aliens are treating them like royalty, which immediately should have been the first red flag. Nobody's that nice without wanting something. It's like when your parents are suspiciously supportive of your life choices, something's wrong, you just don't know what yet. Lisa, being the only person in the family with functioning brain cells, finds a cookbook called How to Cook Humans. Everyone panics because apparently they're about to become the galaxy's worst dinner reservation. The aliens are playing the long game, fattening them up like prize hogs at a county fair. But then, the twist hits. The aliens blow dust off the cover and it actually says, How to Cook for Humans. Then more dust, and it's How to Cook 40 Humans. Then even more dust, How to Cook for 40 Humans. The aliens are just illiterate and genuinely want it to be nice, but the Simpsons accuse them of being cannibals anyway and ruin the whole vibe. The family gets sent back to Earth where they belong, which is honestly what they deserved for being ungrateful about free space vacation. The real horror isn't aliens wanting to eat you, it's being too paranoid to accept generosity when it's right in front of your face. Clown without pity. Homer buys Bart a talking Krusty doll from a creepy shop that screams, "This will definitely try to murder someone later." The shopkeeper even warns him the doll is cursed, but Homer's too cheap to care because it's $1.99 and regular toys are expensive as hell. The doll comes to life with one mission: kill Homer specifically. Not the whole family, just Homer, which honestly is pretty targeted harassment. It's got tiny weapons, ninja skills, and the dedication of someone who actually enjoys their job, unlike most of Springfield. Every night, this 3-foot-tall plastic demon is launching full-scale assassination attempts on a grown man, and somehow Homer keeps surviving. The doll sets traps, stabs him with miniature knives, and even tries drowning him in the toilet, which is both horrifying and deeply embarrassing for Homer. The family calls the toy company's customer service line, and the repairman shows up like this is a normal Tuesday for him. Turns out the doll was just set to evil mode when it should have been on good mode, which is the laziest plot resolution in horror history. It's like if you could stop a serial killer by just asking nicely. After they flip the switch, the doll becomes Homer's personal servant, doing chores and making him drinks. Homer went from being hunted for sport to having a tiny butler, which is the kind of upgrade that only happens in cartoon logic. The real horror is that this doll will inevitably get switched back to evil mode and nobody learned anything. The shinning. Mr. Burns hires the Simpsons as winter caretakers for his mansion and immediately cuts off the cable and beer supply, which is basically psychological warfare against Homer. You don't trap a man who runs on Duff beer in an isolated mansion without entertainment and expect him to stay stable. Homer starts losing his mind within hours, which honestly might be a new record for fastest descent into homicidal madness. He's wandering the halls, muttering about television and alcohol like a prisoner of war. Burns knew exactly what he was doing. This was a setup from the start. Moe appears as a ghostly bartender offering Homer beer, which would be suspicious if Homer had any functioning survival instincts. The ghost convinces Homer that his family is the reason he can't drink, which is technically true, but also terrible logic for murder justification. Homer grabs an axe and starts playing with his family, except the game is chop them into pieces. Bart discovers he has telepathic powers and uses them to call groundskeeper Willie for help, but Willie gets axed immediately upon arrival. The segment burns through The Shining's plot faster than Homer burns through brain cells, hitting every iconic scene while making them progressively more ridiculous. The family's running through snow and hedge mazes while Homer's chasing them like a deranged lumberjack. Marge finally stops him by showing him a portable TV, and Homer instantly forgets about murder because there's a TV news footage. The real horror wasn't supernatural, it was just what happens when you separate Homer from his base needs for 12 hours. Hey, by the way, I'm posting pretty consistently here, so it would mean a lot if you could subscribe to the channel and drop a like for the algorithm. Homer 3. Homer's hiding from Patty and Selma behind a bookcase and accidentally falls into a portal to the third dimension, which is the most significant scientific discovery in human history, and it happened because Homer's a coward. He's suddenly in a real 3D world where everything's rendered in actual depth and geometry instead of flat yellow cartoon logic. This dimension operates on completely different rules. Math is visible, space is infinite, and Homer's more confused than usual. He's basically a 2D being trying to comprehend 3D existence, which is like trying to explain color to someone who's only seen black and white their entire life. The family realizes Homer's missing, and Professor Frink builds a machine to rescue him, because apparently Frink just has interdimensional travel technology lying around for emergencies. Springfield's science budget must be incredible or completely non-existent. There's no middle ground. Homer's panicking in this geometric nightmare while the dimension starts collapsing in on itself, creating a black hole that threatens to destroy everything. The family's trying to pull him out before reality implodes, but Homer's too heavy and stupid to grab the rope properly. It's a rescue mission doomed by Homer's own incompetence. He doesn't make it back and gets sucked into the real world, actual live-action Los Angeles, where he's still animated and completely out of place. Homer ended up in our reality, walking past real stores, advertising erotic cakes, which somehow is more disturbing than any dimension collapse. The segment proved The Simpsons could experiment with animation and absolutely nail it, even if the ending implied Homer's trapped in Hell's extended universe forever. Citizen Kang. Kodos kidnapped both presidential candidates and replaced them with themselves wearing human suits, which is the perfect plan, because politicians already act like aliens pretending to understand normal people. They're running for office with platforms that sound exactly like every other politician. Vague promises and zero substance. Homer witnesses the abduction and tries to warn everyone, but nobody believes him because he's Homer and his credibility is historically garbage. The aliens are out here openly campaigning while wearing the thinnest disguises imaginable, and America just rolls with it because apparently we'll vote for anything. Election day arrives and both candidates are revealed to be aliens, but it's too late. One of them has to win. The population's forced to choose between two identical nightmare options, which is less of a parody and more of a documentary at this point. Democracy is working exactly as designed, just with more tentacles. The aliens win and immediately enslave humanity, forcing everyone to build a giant death ray. Someone in the crowd yells, "I voted for Kodos!" Like, that makes them less responsible, but here's the truth. They're all equally screwed regardless of who they picked. The system was rigged from the start, and pretending you made the right choice is pure delusion. The segment ends with humanity building weapons for their new alien overlords, which is honestly peak American efficiency. We'll work ourselves to death even when it benefits our enemies. The false choice between two terrible options isn't just a horror story. It's the most accurate political commentary The Simpsons ever made, and they wrapped it in a Halloween special so nobody could accuse them of being too preachy. Hell, Tupe. Snake's in prison waiting for execution, which is the inevitable result of robbing the Quick E-Mart 47 times without ever changing his strategy. His final wish is for his hair to be donated after death, because apparently organ donation rules apply to hairpieces in Cartoon Universe. Homer's going bald faster than usual and gets Snake's hair grafted onto his head, which immediately sounds like a terrible medical decision. Nobody questioned whether transplanting a dead criminal's hair onto Homer's skull might have consequences, because Springfield's medical ethics board is either non-existent or permanently drunk. Snake's hair takes control of Homer's body and starts murdering everyone who testified against Snake at his trial. It's body horror meets revenge thriller, except the villain is literally hair with a grudge. Homer is conscious but powerless while his own head is committing felonies, which is the worst possible way to lose control of your life. The hair's got Snake's memories, personality, and criminal skills, turning Homer into a puppet for posthumous revenge. It's murdering people in increasingly elaborate ways while Homer's screaming internally, unable to stop his own hands from committing homicide. The segment takes Bad Hair Day to its logical extreme and then drives it off a cliff. Marge eventually stops the hair by setting it on fire, which solves the possession problem, but also leaves Homer bald again. He went through trauma, murder charges, and demonic possession just to end up back where he started, hairless and miserable. The real horror is that Homer's life is so terrible that being possessed by a criminal's hair is barely an interruption to his normal routine. Life's a glitch, then you die. Y2K hits and every computer in the world simultaneously breaks because nobody bothered to fix a date formatting issue that everyone knew about for years. It's humanity's most predictable apocalypse, caused entirely by procrastination and hoping someone else would handle it. Springfield descends into chaos immediately, planes crash, power grids fail, and society collapses within hours. The segment's basically asking, what if tech anxiety was completely justified? And the answer is that we'd all die from our own incompetence faster than any alien invasion could kill us. Homer finds out there's a rocket ship escaping Earth with the best and brightest of humanity, and he desperately tries to get his family aboard. But the selection process is merit-based, and the Simpsons have exactly zero qualifications for survival. They're not smart, talented, or useful. They're just average people who thought they'd matter in a crisis. The rocket launches with scientists, artists, and leaders while the Simpsons get left behind, which is brutally honest about who actually survives when resources are limited. There's a second rocket for regular people, and it's immediately filled with celebrities and morons, proving that even in apocalypse scenarios, fame matters more than competence. Both rockets crash. The smart people's ship hits the sun, and the regular people's ship crashes into an asteroid. Humanity's extinction wasn't caused by the glitch itself, but by our fundamental inability to cooperate or plan ahead. The segment ends with everyone dead because we collectively failed at the easiest problem we ever faced, and there's something darkly poetic about that. Ghost Dad. Homer dies by driving off a gorge, which is the third time he's fallen into that specific gorge this year. Death's getting repetitive for him at this point, like it's just another Tuesday inconvenience. He becomes a ghost stuck in limbo, unable to move on, because apparently even the afterlife has bureaucracy. An angel tells Homer he can only enter heaven if he performs one good deed, which is setting the bar incredibly low, and Homer still struggles with it. He's invisible to everyone except Bart, and even that's only because Bart's got the right spiritual frequency, or whatever excuse the segment gives for cartoon ghost rules. Homer tries good deeds and fails repeatedly because his definition of good is wildly different from actual morality. He thinks scaring Moe is helpful, that stealing is fine if it's for charity, and that his presence alone should count as a blessing. The man's been selfish for so long that altruism is a foreign language he can't learn. He finally saves Bart from getting hit by a car, which is the most dad-coded good deed possible. You can be a terrible person your whole life, but saving your kid counts as redemption. The moment Homer succeeds, he gets pulled into heaven immediately like God's been waiting by the door with a stopwatch. The segment's weirdly emotional for a Treehouse of Horror episode because it actually shows Homer caring about something besides himself. He spent his entire afterlife trying to earn his way into paradise just to protect his son, which is more character growth than regular episodes allow him. The good deed wasn't about being selfless, it was about being a father, and apparently, that was enough. Whiz kids. Bart and Lisa are wizard students at a magic school that's absolutely not trying to cash in on any early 2000s cultural phenomena. They're learning spells and potions while Lord Montymort, who's obviously Mr. Burns, threatens the entire magical world with his evil schemes. Bart's naturally gifted but lazy, treating magic like it's gym class where talent matters more than effort. He's pulling off advanced spells without studying because he's got protagonist energy and the universe rewards him for it. Meanwhile, Lisa's working twice as hard for half the recognition, which is basically her entire character arc in every episode. Montymort attacks the school and Bart's suddenly the chosen one who has to save everyone because of course the underachieving kid gets to be the hero. The prophecy or destiny or whatever magical excuse the segment uses picks Bart over Lisa, despite her being objectively more qualified, which is frustratingly accurate to how real life works. The final battle comes down to Bart choosing between saving the world or saving Milhouse, because apparently friendship's being tested during an apocalypse. He picks Milhouse and dooms humanity, which is the most Bart Simpson decision possible. Personal loyalty over collective survival every single time. The world ends because Bart valued one friend over billions of lives, and the segment treats this like it's noble instead of catastrophically selfish. Everyone dies, magic collapses, and reality ends, but at least Bart proved he's a good friend to Milhouse specifically. It's the ultimate Treehouse of Horror moral. Your choices matter, and sometimes they matter in the worst possible way. If you enjoyed this video, I'm going to be posting a lot here, so please subscribe, and thanks for watching.